sales cannot exist without the branding process.
Hey guys, welcome to a new episode. And today we are going to have really important topic for your business, which is brand strategy and marketing communication. We have really talented guest on board. He's very experienced coming from this domain, and he will be giving some lights on this topic. His name is Piyush Sandhane. We have worked together in the past, and I have seen his fabulous work even on international level. And here he comes from this background. So he's a TEDx speaker, he's an author, he's a brand strategist. His name is Piyush. Welcome, Piyush.
Hi, Amay. Thank you for having me with you.
Most welcome, most welcome. And we are so glad to have you here. And we have a lot of questions, especially on my YouTube channel. There are a lot of questions been asked by many people from US and several other countries. These are small and mid-sized businesses, and they have common questions about branding and marketing, how it is important, what should be the budget. So these are the typical questions, and we will have in this session. So
Great.
once again.
Thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure to doing this video call with you.
Absolutely. So Piyush, before we begin, would you like to give a brief introduction and some more information about your background, how you came in this industry, anything?
Okay. If I wish to put my profile in a very simple way, I can always say that I am a marketer by my brain and an educator by heart. So I have been into marketing since the time I started my professional journey. I studied advertising in my post graduation. So I come way back from my education itself, which was into branding, advertising, marketing. I worked with a few brands. With 6 years back, I thought I would start independently, and that's where my journey as an independent consultant, or probably you can call an entrepreneur, it started six and a half years back. Yes.
Wow.
It's been a very it's been a journey with a lot of ups and downs. I started off with a very humble set of clients, and then 6 years down the line, I can say that I've reached to at least a point where I work with good sizable companies, and then I help them kind of define their entire existence out there in the market. So I work with startups also, and I work with SMEs or even large corporations, where I can assist them with anything to do with their branding strategy or their marketing communication.
Absolutely, that's fabulous. I think your experience is going to be really helpful for a lot of our audience. So we will start with our questions. Maybe the first question what we have, these are typical questions which I have received from people. So I'm sure there will be a lot of interest, about the answers what we get from you. The very first question, people who are very new, they are in the business, but their main focus is towards the business operations side, or towards the client acquisition. But I think branding and marketing, which is a very integral part of the business, but many people are not aware of it, or they have very basic information. So can you elaborate exactly what is branding and marketing and how it's important to the business?
Okay. I would like to start with a very, kind of a book definition, where I'll answer the question, which is what is a brand, and then we'll go towards what is branding, because what I've seen is there's a lot of confusion and a lot of myths around the world called brand and branding. So taking you back in the history, this word brand actually came from a word, or a very old pronounced word called brander. Okay.
Okay.
Now, in the old days, what used to happen was, typically in the 1500s, at that point, there used to be a lot of trade of cattle, and to identify the ownership of the cattle, what they used to do was they used to burn wood, and they used to burn the skin of the cattle.
Okay.
And they gave a mark on the cattle to identify that these cattle were owned by a particular person.
Okay.
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 And that's how this word, and the stick, the wooden stick with the wooden with the burnt part of it was called brander. Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's how the word evolved in today's date. But when time passed, say around 1800s and 1820s,
Right.
uh,
Right.
same there was a lot of trade which was happening, and then the industry grew and the companies grew, and there were products which were being traded out there. So at
Right.
that point of time, when they used to send the consignment, again there was a mark which was put on their boxes or consignments,
Right.
so that they could identify from where it came and from whose ownership. Typically this was like, for example, if you say wine or something like that, it was
Right.
more
Right.
on. Now with time, what happened was this the word brand started being also associated with the quality of
Uh-huh.
the product,
Right.
and not just the ownership aspect, but for the quality. Why? Because if I mean, there was this common statement that if this was the mark on the product, it was
Right.
of this brand and this was a good quality product. And today what has happened is, we all know, with all these mega giant brands, in
Right.
within and we are using them, and we are experiencing them every day.
Right.
Today brands are actually, I mean, if you call them entities or ventures, or I like to call them brands, they
Right.
are talking to audiences. Now this has become, the brand itself has become a humanized version of the business.
Okay.
Because that humans love to communicate, and humans are social animals, and they get connected with other humans with a certain set of qualities and
Absolutely.
emotions and mindsets. So building a brand has become a humanized version of the business, who's talking to the audiences every
Right.
now and then.
Right.
So whether it be with with the identity or the logo,
Right.
or the kind of words they use, the kind of colors, the visuals, so anything and everything that comes into the being of the brand, so the existence of the brand,
Mm-hmm.
starts talking to the target audience.
Right.
And brand as a word has evolved from what it was just to mark ownership, to becoming a humanized version of the business, who does all the talking with the customers or the target audience. So that's how
Okay.
has this word brand evolved with time.
Wow. Wow. Okay, that's a very nice background you have given us. I think that's a really, there is a story behind every business or every business model. So I think this could be a story that for every one of us will remember. So
Right.
you tell us if the businesses, many businesses we have seen, small, mid-size, and even the large-size businesses, of course, they have their own marketing budgets. They are focusing on it. But tell us about small and mid-sized businesses. If they already have a client base, how important it is to invest or have a separate budget for it, and how important it is to consider branding when they already have existing client base.
Okay. Now, in today's scenario, I like to just point out something, that the word branding is, I would typically say that it's a word which is not that well perceived by businesses.
Okay.
Okay, business owners rather, because when we talk about branding, the owners or business guys think about it as a marketing expense, or
Right.
more of a cost,
Right.
which is not going to give them any kind of tangible returns. Okay,
Absolutely.
that's how people perceive typically small and medium businesses.
Right.
But I'll give you some insight of this. Now there was a word called brand, and there is a verb form which is branding. Okay,
Okay.
I'll give you the verb form of it. What does branding actually mean, so that it gets clear to all my viewers, or all our viewers together, so that they understand what's the difference between marketing and branding. Okay,
Right.
now,
Right.
it's called branding as a process. Why I call it brand development process. Okay, branding is basically building the DNA of your business. Okay,
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so now I'll give you a very simple example to make it easy to understand. If you look at the process of pregnancy, okay,
Mm-hmm.
now in pregnancy, what happens is the lady conceives, and you get the good news and everything. Now
Right.
there is typically a fixed period of time, okay, say it's 9 months for the baby to come out to the world, okay. So
Right.
that's science. I will say branding starts right from the pregnancy stage. Now I'll tell you why. Now a lot of times businesses make this mistake that they come up with the business, they start their business, they begin their operations. Maybe they have some idea or some format or concept,
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of begin that. But once they start, they want to start building up the process of branding. Now what I typically suggest entrepreneurs is before you even start or introduce your brand or venture to the market,
Right.
that is the pregnancy stage, start working on the health and the humanization of the venture, okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now I typically ask my clients saying that uh, if the females who are pregnant, do we wait for the baby to come out in the world and then we start working on the health of the baby?
No.
The answer comes no,
Right.
because every kind of nutrient, every kind of the best things is provided while the baby is in the mother's womb.
Hello.
But we make sure that each and every aspect which is going to be making the baby sustain and start a life with a good health or survive there with the external conditions, we
Right.
start providing it first itself. All right.
Absolutely.
Now it's never that the baby comes out and then we decide to put some good nutrients, or it is even we sometimes don't know. I mean, we all the time don't know what the baby is going to look like, but that's the baby that we have created, okay.
Absolutely.
And we don't decide what kind of clothes they will wear, what kind of colors they will wear, what kind of makeup they will wear, or what kind of hairstyle they will wear before, I mean, during the pregnancy. That's not the thought that comes in our
That's
mind,
right. That's right.
but typically people go in the reverse manner, and that is where I always oppose not to start with deciding what the brand or the venture will wear, what color they will have, what kind of symbol they will have.
Right.
I kind of take the journey in a very systematic manner, and that's how every business should do it. Now why I said DNA is because getting into starting something is it starts with a belief, right?
Right.
If you believe in something, you start doing that business or you start doing that activity, right?
Absolutely.
Any venture is based on a very strong foundational belief of the person who started it or the team who starts it.
Right.
And it is very important to derive the right essence and the right purpose of why that particular venture or brand exists in the market.
Mm-hmm.
Now that becomes the DNA of the business. Okay, so like if you know that the iceberg, you only can see the tip of the iceberg, okay?
Absolutely.
And then
Absolutely.
you
There is a
don't know
lot
what's
under
below.
it. Lot under the
A
bottom.
lot under it, yeah. And typically this term is used for sales in
Right,
business in the management world. The sales is tip of the iceberg, and down there's the marketing part of
Exactly.
it, right? But I will still say that in branding also, what you see on colors, visuals, identity, symbols, all these things, it is just the tip of that iceberg.
And
But
there is
what is below the surface, which cannot be seen, is the strong foundation which builds every kind of visual communication, verbal communication, the personality of the brand, the tonality of the brand, and
Right.
the kind of relations or the kind of target audience that it wants to capture.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
So the mistake that people do is they feel that branding is a cost, but I will say branding is an investment. And through our conversation and through this video, I would like to tell that branding is not a one-time activity.
Okay. Okay.
Initially it's a one time, you feel like it's a one time thing,
That's
but
right.
if you have a baby coming out, you are going to spend time, effort, energy, money behind evolving that baby, growing that baby, and at every point the baby's
Absolutely.
needs will be different according to the outside conditions, right?
Absolutely.
So, in the same way, the brand or a branding process is a continual process. It is not a one time process.
Right. Right.
Every time the venture needs to look into themselves and ask the right questions so that they are talking the right things to the target audience, and they are
Absolutely.
building more relations. Now
Right.
with that as base, you can kind of map your marketing strategies and communication strategies and what tools you would want to use, like
Right.
maybe offline or an online tool. So all the decisions become easier
That's
if you
right.
are doing your branding process right.
Right. Right from the beginning, you need to start when the business is still in
Exactly,
the
exactly.
ideas or it's still in the plan.
Yes,
Right.
because I have seen many clients who come to me at a point where they already have gone 5 steps ahead,
Right.
but they realize that they are waiting there lost because they don't know what their brand is trying to communicate.
Right.
And they have, with so much of competition that exists now,
Right.
everyone wants to stand out now. Standing out is not just the visual standout, okay?
Right. Right.
Because design is a very subjective matter, something that you would like, I would not like, okay?
Understood. Right.
In terms of design and color, but branding is not about that part. Branding starts way before. So I have clients who I have to take them back to square one
Right.
and start the process and then evolve them with the kind of visual language or design language which comes out, and that's the best way to go, because everything is based on a very strong foundation from the owners or the leadership team side, and it
Mm-hmm.
is not an ambiguous identity which gets created where you are like one of the others. So you just have a logo, you have a design, you have some colors, and you are
Right.
someone like others, and you don't know what you're talking about. You don't have a story, you don't have a strong relatable experience for the target audience, and that's why you miss the entire point. I mean, there's no marketing, there's no sales. So that's how the entire thing it's
Absolutely.
like a circle.
Right, right. So I think, to the question, just to summarize it once again, I think even if the businesses they have existing customer base, still it's important that they should have enough budgets and they should consider it very seriously about branding and positioning about their business
See, I'll tell you one simple thing, Amay. If the customers are existing or they're there with the business,
with the business.
this means the venture or the business needs to continually communicate something with their customers. The first one is existing customers,
Right.
and the
The
second one
future
is
ones.
the new customers. Okay.
Correct.
Now, if you want to tell me that branding, how would branding fit into this?
Right.
If we are not talking, if we're not building relationships, and we're
Right.
not building with our existing customers, how would they even go and remember our brand or talk about our brand?
Correct.
And how would the similar kind of new customers join the group or join the tribe,
Exactly.
where you can share your services or products? So if a business has existing customers, then it's a must that they should invest into branding, and the process of developing a good marketing communication time and again, because the customer retention is a very important factor when it comes to the
Factor.
business part.
Absolutely. So for business retention as well as new customer acquisition, in both ways, it can be really helpful. So,
Yes.
Piyush, what should be now? Let's say that the businesses has just started and from any industry. What should be the typical budget, if we can say that? How much percentage we can call it in the percentage way? So, how much percentage they should have, especially for branding and especially for this segment?
Okay. So I would start with I'll give you different examples, because there are different categories. So startups are always bootstrapped, and they want, they're short of money,
Right.
and their SMEs are already traveling some business journeys, and then they want to have a growth plan after that. So there are different
Absolutely.
stages, of businesses. But what I would, and as I said, that it's not the one time thing. You should keep doing the branding exercise again and time and again. Uh, what I would typically suggest is I have seen startups or new businesses
Right.
not having anything defined. Okay, not having anything defined. They only have one thing in their mind, saying that, I want something like a logo, I want some design, I want a website, I want these things.
Right.
And they typically go in the market and start looking out for these kind of services.
Right.
Now
Right.
they end up talking to different vendors, different experts, and the experts or the vendors give them their versions of the design or what they feel is the
Correct.
right thing or right color.
Right.
Now I would suggest every business to, before you go to the actual delivery guys or to executing guys,
That's
have
right.
someone on board who kind of questions and asks the right questions to the brand, okay, to the venture,
Right.
to derive the entire brand philosophy, the
Absolutely.
essence of the brand, the vision mission statements of the brand. Now these vision mission statements, I'm not saying about the typical one which you put on the website, but
Right.
the real brand commitment, what is going to happen, why they really existed. So it's
Right.
basically going to that why question,
Right.
because I feel that the humans also ask the same question: why am I here? Every time in life, why do I exist today, or what next? Now, why am I doing
Exactly.
this?
Exactly.
And the same question needs to be asked, because we are talking about humanizing the business. Same
Absolutely.
question should be asked to that: why do we exist? And apart from the commercial intent, what is my intent of being in this market, or why do I
Right.
exist? Apart
Right.
from the commercial part of it,
Absolutely.
these kind of questions give they probe deep to the with the entrepreneurs, and then the answers which come out, they give a very strong vision mission statements, brand commitment statements, value statements. So
Right.
typically I've seen that a lot of values are also mentioned about the company, that we are so and so kind, we are creative, we are friendly,
Right.
whatnot. So these kind of personality gets developed. So I would suggest every business to invest in having this process done before they head to any kind of a design or
Right.
visual or verbal development. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now once this is done, okay, what
Right.
happens is the businesses can now give this brief or this kind of foundation to any vendor they want to
Right.
associate with.
Right.
And
Right.
because of that, what happens is every vendor is going to give you something which is which is the brand or which is the essence of the brand. So
Correct.
they are not going to put on their versions of things.
Understood.
And that's when businesses can actually scale up or kind of go ahead and put their, maybe if they're a mobile app, then they can design the UI experience, the colors, and how the
Right.
person can go. So typically when you ask about budgets, Amay, I would not have a fixed number, but I will give you a range to even startups.
Right.
So a startup, if I have to give a number, not just the percentage,
Right.
initially a startup should have at least
Right.
somewhere around a lakh of rupees to 1.5 lakh rupees. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm not talking about the design part now. Okay.
Understood.
They should have at least this much part to engage a consultant or a branding expert, who can actually sit with the team or sit with the owners and take
Right.
them through this exercise.
Right.
And
Right.
typically what evolves out with the visual part or the design part or something like that. So I would say typically somewhere around 3 lakh rupees is something I feel is a good amount for anyone who is trying to give birth to the baby and wanting to invest into into the health or the core purpose of why do we exist in
Right.
this.
Right. Right. This is
So when
very
this
important.
gets when this gets developed, what happens is everything falls in place with time. Your decisions become easier. The kind of people who get associated with you become they are the right people, because if I want someone to work with my company, I want to have the right people on board. Now if your brand is kind of
Right.
putting some kind of positioning in the person's head, this is not just for the customers, it is
Right.
also for the internal customers. So
Absolutely.
whoever wants to join your company or whoever existing who is performing in your company, they should have an ownership of, say, the brand, saying that I work with this kind of person or this kind of entity, a
That's
human version of the entity. and I'm proud to be associated, and I own this brand. So all these values which start getting created in the brand, they start moving or transferring to the people who are working in the company.
That's true.
And that's the magic, when you call it what kind of return. So without any tangible returns, you can actually press that boost button and make sure that collectively there are some tangible returns later.
Right,
in terms of
right.
revenue.
So I think that's really good. So the budget, to keep it in mind, even at the startup stage, as you said, it could be 1 lakh to 3 lakh rupees, which you said, or maybe we can say $1,000 to $4,000, wherever, whichever the country you're watching it from. So
Right.
after budget, Piyush, what is?
So I would like to add this point also, because you spoke about percentage, right?
That's right. Yes.
So if you know that every business does some kind of a revenue projection, in the beginning of the year, whatever stage they are into,
Right.
and there is a percentage of the budgets which are allocated to marketing, right?
Right.
What I would suggest is, add some more onto that percentage. So if typically of the revenue, a business invests about 20 to 25% in
Right.
the marketing activities. So if it's 20%, then make it 22% or 23%, 25%, wherein 5% or 3% is going to be spent on reflecting on the brand, trying to connect with the situational environment. What is so building the context of what's happening with regards to the competition, economy, and other things. Like,
Absolutely.
what is the situation right now, and how businesses have completely they need to change their face right now.
Right.
They need to talk the right things to their people. They cannot be banking on the old communication part, because everything is changed. We are locked down at our homes, and every aspect of business is changed. So
True.
spend some money on spend some percentage in the marketing budgets on this exercise, where you create relevance, contextual conversations, build a good marketing communication part, and also add strength to the foundation of the existence of the brand. And that is what is going to differentiate the brand from the other competition which exists.
Right.
Period.
Right. Absolutely. So Piyush, now when the companies they assign these budgets, I would ask, are there any real life examples, so maybe people can understand it in a better way? Say that if we take it as a case study, or maybe something like any particular company, what does that company stands and what is exactly branding associated with it? For example, from a layman language, if we say, maybe people like us would understand, there is Apple phone, and then we only see there is one Apple, and it is really a prestigious thing to have a particular phone in hand. But what apart from that exactly? So maybe if you could give some real life examples of the businesses.
So what I'll do, Amay, is I'll keep it quite general, so that everyone understands and can relate to the names that I will say, in this conversation.
Sure.
So let me put it in a very simplistic manner. Let's take two brands. Let's take three brands. So first I'll talk about the first two brands. One is a very, very well-known brand, which is everyone knows about it. It's Mercedes. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
And the other brand, what we'll do is we'll take as Maruti, the Indian brand,
Right.
Maruti Suzuki.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Amay, you and me do not own a Mercedes yet. Okay.
That's
so I know we are kind of fighting to and wanting to move forward to get one into our ownership.
Right. Right.
But even if we don't own it and we don't experience that product, don't you think that it has a special place in your mind? Okay. And when you talk about Mercedes, and when you talk about Maruti, which is the Indian mass car manufacturer,
yes,
these have very distinct positions in our head.
Right.
You will never put them at the same pedestal. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, what are the words that come in your mind when I say Mercedes? So
right.
You can just tell me what are the words that come in your mind.
I think it's about the luxury, and it's for the the rich people, or for the business segment. And basically, in one word, I would say it is a luxury car, and it's good to have, or it's always there in the wish list of everyone's mind. Yes.
Right. And then when I say Maruti Suzuki, what's the words that come in your mind?
That's most about the cost and the economy or cost effectiveness. And I think that is the one. So it is more
Right.
not related to comfort, but it's related to cost.
Okay.
Yes.
Now let me put a third brand in this. Okay.
Sure.
I'll say I've put in Hyundai.
Yes. So I think
Now tell me, what words do this brand give you in your mind?
so. I think it is comfort with added cost advantage. That's what I say. It's not a luxury segment, but neither it is the economic one. I think it's the middle part which gives the really great comfort and the same features in which are in the premium cars at a cost advantage. I think so.
Okay. Now tell me, all these brands are
Sure.
talking to their target audience, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So do you feel that you would go, or anyone who has realistically has wants to get a Maruti or a Hyundai would go into a Mercedes showroom, okay, and just for the fun's sake, kind of go and experiment check the car, or do you think that they will keep doing it again and again?
No, it
Or
is very
a lot of crowd will be there?
that. No, it's very unlikely to do that.
It's very unlikely, right? Because that's the perception that we as consumers already have built up in our head, that if I need to go inside this car showroom,
Absolutely.
it's kind of it has an image in front of me, and I
Exactly.
have to be something. I have to be ready with something if I want to go and have my first conversation with the brand and the people
Makes
who
sense.
are working for the brand. Okay.
Very true. Very true.
In the same way, if I take Hyundai and Maruti, you will still say, if I want to talk about quality, which brand will you endorse? Is it Maruti or is it Hyundai?
No, it's of course Hyundai. I think so. Yes.
Right. So even when these brands fall under the economy and the upper economy part of band, they
Right.
still make a distinct place in the consumer's head, and they
Right.
communicate the same thing, that when you talk about Hyundai, it's about comfort, it's about smoothness, it's about quality, which is much better than the lesser brands, which are lower price brands.
Absolutely.
And then comes kind of assurance, the technology, because Hyundai is a Korean brand, and that's how.
Right.
But when I talk about Maruti, it's more like a mass brand. Anyone can
That's
own
true.
it. So it always says that this could be your first car.
Absolutely.
And also one more thing, if you talk about Maruti, people say it has a good resale value.
Makes sense. Right. Right.
Now these are certain communications the brand has done while they are kind of building the DNA of the business, while they were working on the communication part, while they were working on a design part. So
Right.
if I have to put, it's not that the Mercedes ad can only be seen by the elite class or the premium economic
Of course.
segment.
Right.
A Mercedes ad is seen by me, by you, by anyone who has a newspaper, but it talks to only with the targeted people. So it
Right.
doesn't talk to everyone. I
Right.
might have it on my wish list
Correct.
or my bucket list or something like that, but it is exactly telling me that this can be your car when you become this kind of a person. Okay.
Right.
When
Right.
you have the money, when you're a leader, when you are a CEO, that kind of messages. Okay.
Right.
And that's where they're building up a story in my head, that the ownership of this brand is going to give me some kind of positivity, some kind of feeling, some kind of
Absolutely.
emotion. It's going to elevate my status mentally,
Right.
and in terms of image also, from one level to another. Now,
Right.
all these things are happening without they telling me directly.
That's true.
All these things are happening when I'm perceiving all these things. Now, why I'm telling you about this story? Because the question you asked was, can you share some of the experience? How branding creates a difference. Okay.
Absolutely.
And I have given very common names which are known by a lot
Everyone.
of people,
Correct.
everyone around the globe. And typically I want to tell all the entrepreneurs that if you can perceive a brand's image without even experiencing a product
Right.
or owning the product,
Right.
That's where I would say this is where the entire depth of this exercise, the branding part of it, comes into picture. Where uh, as a personality, Mercedes exists and it wants to communicate with the similar minds, similar personalities,
Absolutely.
similar economics. So they have positioned themselves so strongly that the right person goes out there for the for the right product and comes out and they have a sale, and they know that that's the only customer segment that they are targeting. They are not targeting the mass at all.
Right. Right.
So this is the difference between, these are all good brands. It's not even that it's something is new and something is not even existing. These are good brands, and typically even good brands need to do it
Right.
time and again.
So they have
It's
to
not
do it
just the
even
new
after
brands.
some time. That's right. Understood. So not only
Of
in the
course,
big
because
market, yes.
now all of a sudden, if you see Maruti, if they would have started saying that we are the most safe product or we are the most premium products, tell me, it would have been such a disaster to the existing customer base,
Right.
because now the existing customer base wouldn't have related with their brand. So they had to come up with a different brand called Nexa. Okay.
Right.
Now there was an economic band and there was a upper middle class brand.
Absolutely.
So economic band. So what they had to do is they had to come up with Nexa as a separate positioning.
Right.
So all the mass cars are in the normal Maruti showrooms, but now they have Nexa, which says that
Premium cars.
this is a premium segment where the economic band has gone a little higher to the executive class, and they charge premium for it. And if you see the body language of their team, of their salespeople, their showrooms, you see the experience that the customer would get inside and outside. It is completely different than the old or conventional Maruti showroom. So there's a huge difference between how the employees even dress up, how they talk, what kind of employees are hired. Everything is different.
Right.
And that's why you can command a premium on their Nexa products.
Right.
Though they come from the same company,
Same
factory.
company, same manufacturer. So now, if any company wants to get into it, if they want to understand what is the process, how you guys exactly handle it, if somebody approaches, and what are the typical process, how it starts, what is exactly brand identity, what are the collaterals which are required, because typically people know is only some corporate presentations and only website, nothing more than that. But if you could explain it, how you guys exactly handle the end-to-end project.
So I'll tell you my process, how I do it.
Sure.
Because it's a very good question that you've asked, because it's important that everyone knows what's the first step. The first step, I would always say, it's the discovery process.
Okay.
Now in this discovery process, what happens is we typically have a set of questionnaires. We do certain worksheets and certain exercises where we try and discover the leadership team or the owners' entire background, mindset, the purpose of why they started, and what are they going to do, what is the long-term agenda of the business.
Sure.
And there are a set of more than 50, 60 questions,
right,
where it is it becomes imperative for the owner or the entrepreneur to think and answer. Okay. Typically, I have seen my clients saying that we never thought of such thing. We never thought that this could be, I need to answer this part. Right. I just thought that I had a business, I have a product, and I need to sell this, and quickly how I can get into good sales. Okay.
Right.
So for me, it's becoming a devil's advocate, where we have these one-on-one sessions. We have these maybe remote sessions now because of the corona crisis. But it's a discovery phase which gives us all the inputs,
sure,
to start crafting the essence of the brand, the identity. Even I help people in naming their businesses.
Sure.
The name also evolves after the foundation. Absolutely. So once we know what the brand exists for, why it is there, this exercise typically takes about 15 days, both sides. There are a lot of exchanges that happens.
Sure.
And then this gives us the entire raw material or the ingredients by which we can have a good recipe,
sure,
of this particular venture or this brand.
Right.
And after that, we go towards building the content of so whether it is going to be the philosophy, the vision, mission statements, the value statements, the brand synopsis, the introduction, and typically whatever you see on a corporate brochure or a website. So I'm not saying it is targeted to the tool, but it is about the overall content of the brand.
Understood. Okay.
And it also has a about section about the leadership team and so on and so forth. So a lot of sections in that.
Right.
Then what happens is this content is then kind of passed on to the guys who can elevate this content in a visual manner.
Okay.
Now the design comes into picture, because giving a designer a strong story or a strong reference to what they need to visualize is very important.
Absolutely.
So then the designing process starts, where the identity comes, the logo, the typography, the personality, how it looks in colors, and how it would go on different marketing collaterals, and all these things start. Now, what I have seen is brands do go in the reverse manner.
Okay.
So they start with design.
Right.
So they tell that get me a logo, get me this. Now they start with design. Now the colors and everything is just on the basis of what they like and dislike. Okay.
Right.
Or maybe typically what is running in the industry and what is all happening in the industry.
What competitors are
now,
using. Right.
Yes, exactly. And then they go and say, now I want to do a website or this thing. Now go and build some content on it.
Sure.
And it degrades the entire process, and then they end up asking this, going there that, okay, let me figure out why am I really existing out here? Am I creating any kind of differentiator or competitive USP?
Right.
Then they go towards that process. Now what I'm saying is go like this. So go from discovery, USP, content, the contextual conversations, and then the design. So this process
should come last. Okay.
Right. Because even if you are working with different vendors,
right,
they can start connecting and relating with the content and the story of the brand, and they know exactly, they have a guideline on what kind of colors, what kind of moods they have to create, what kind of if the brand is sophisticated, what kind of typography has to be used. If the brand is a casual brand, what kind of things have to be used, colors and stuff. So this is a cue to the designer to elevate whatever is the base to the next level in terms of how it will look out in the market.
Wow.
This is the typical process.
Understood. So I think, yes, a lot of businessmen, they are more excited towards directly coming to the designing part, but there is a lot of thought process, there is a lot of ideology and planning behind that. So, okay. So that's very interesting. Now, before we move on to the next question, Piyush, just to tell everyone that Piyush's contact information and his LinkedIn details are mentioned down in the comments. So make sure if you wish to directly contact him or if you have any questions, you can refer to that. Now, Piyush, I have a next question that now once this process is done about branding and positioning, how it is exactly directly related to the sales of business. So if some businessman invests and if he gets into this branding and if he has allocated direct budget and if he gets it done, how much expectation or return on investment he can have directly from his sales?
Okay, so I will put it in a very contextual manner. Okay, sure. I would not want to because see, every business has different needs, and every business sales process is also different. Sales cycles are very different. But I will say, I'll give you a different answer. I will tell you why does branding contribute to sales, and which I've already mentioned before, but I would like to emphasize it again. And I spoke about the circle, that and it I can sum it up in one line. The line is that if the brand is trying to appeal everybody,
sure,
it will end up appealing to nobody.
Okay.
And that's where the idea of sales comes out. Now, if I have done my exercise well, I have analyzed my competition well. Now we do a competition analysis also while the discovery process. Okay. So if I've analyzed my competition well, I have got my opportunity band defined very well, and I am talking to the right things to the right target audience. Okay.
Sure.
When I'm kind of narrowing this and I'm bringing a lot of focus to my sales effort, okay, this is going to directly help the sales function reach to 80% or 70-80% of their function. So 80% of a positive output
Sure.
starts from how the journey of the brand which is taken the consumer,
Right.
So if I have to buy something, make a decision,
right.
I have already had some lot of indirect communications with me. If
Absolutely.
the brand is doing a lot of indirect communication, I am already 50% sold to the idea of the brand's existence.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And I am going to need only 50 to 50% to go there, experience it, maybe need some convincing or need some kind of a conversation, and I am kind of going to make a decision.
Right.
So that 50 to 60% is the most important part, and branding comes into a brand process comes into picture of doing the communication. Your sales function is just needs to deal that entire process with conviction and go and close the business.
Okay.
So I would typically say that sales cannot exist without the branding process. I'll tell you why. Because the sales team also needs to be proud to be a part of something big. Okay. And
Right.
that big is not going to be the owner or the entrepreneur. Okay. It is the existence or the why of the business.
Sure.
And every salesperson can talk about the business story or the brand story. Every
Right.
person wants to have some kind of a conversational context with the
Right.
prospect customer. Now if the company or the venture is helping their own team
Sure.
to feel the entire strength, to feel the conviction of the brand, feel
Right.
the conviction of the product or the service,
Right.
I am sure that all the sales guys are charged up, and they are doubly confident of going out there and hitting to the right person or the right target,
Right.
and closing the business. So as I said in the first line, if you're trying to appeal everybody, you will end up appealing nobody, because
Right.
people will think that, is this brand a confused person? They're talking to us, they're talking to everyone. I mean, what are they trying to do?
Right.
So if you do the process well, you go to a targeted audience, focused marketing part, and help the sales team with all these ammo, I think it directly affects the sales cycle or the sales process.
Right.
Of
It should
any
be a narrowed down approach, and they should be basically focusing on the right audience.
Right. So branding helps doing that, and that's how the sales become targeted, and it becomes it's not all over the place.
Right.
And you can actually boost up the sales numbers, because then you're talking to the right person for the right decision to be made.
Wow. Okay. So, Piyush, I think you have given a lot of information to us now. Before we conclude this meeting, we have last two questions. Is there anything that you would like to show it on the screen, so we will have a better understanding of this concept?
Yes, Amay, I think I have something to show you on the screen. What I'll do is I'll just try to show you. Just give me a minute. I will try to show
Sure.
you the anatomy of a brand. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is something. Can you see it now on screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Let me see if I can give you a full screen. Yes, I think I can give you a full screen. Right? Can you
That's
see
better.
this?
Absolutely. Yes, we can see that.
All right. So this is what I would like to do is while summing the entire conversation right now today.
Sure.
If you look at the anatomy of the brand, there is something which is not seen by the customers, and something which is seen by the customer or your target audience. So I call it above the surface and below the surface. And we've already spoken about the iceberg and the tip of the iceberg. So you can take that example for this. Now, below the surface, before you come to any kind of design or decisions or kind of marketing decisions or collateral or color decisions, which is whatever the visual expression of the brand, what is important that every venture, every business should go through the strategy and the expression exercise. Now, under the strategy exercise, we get into the real internal branding process.
Okay.
Which includes defining the purpose, which is the vision, mission statements, and the value statements. Now, this becomes the very core of the brand. Now, based on this, everything evolves. So, if you start looking from the left-hand side, it goes from left to right. Okay.
Right.
The process goes from left to right, and then we go and do the positioning strategy. where we study our audience, we study the target market, then we do the segmentation, we do the positioning part of it. We study the competition very importantly, and that is where it's the most important exercise, because if you don't identify the opportunity band to talk, what are you going to talk about, or what is the differentiator between you and others,
Right.
That's the missing part. That's why competition analysis is very important.
Right.
And then creating the USP, or the unique selling proposition, or the differentiation between us and the other competition that exists. That is the important part. Now, all these things help to build the character of the brand, which is the voice and the tonality and the personality of the brand.
Right. Right.
Now, once the strategy is set, we can go towards the brand expression part, where we talk, we define what the brand talks. What are the kind of what is the content, what is the kind of tonality, what is the kind of image with the words that we're using is going to be created. So now this can even start from the naming part. So naming of the business, so naming of the product also begins after your strategy is complete. So making a promise, tagline, the core message of the brand, the core idea of the brand, and some kind of storytelling, so brand story. All these things are the below the surface activities, which are not directly seen by the customer.
By the audience.
Sometimes it of course percolates, and it is visible to the customers or to the target audience, the prospect customers is what I'm saying. But the most appealing part, or the most engaging part with any kind of target audience, is going to be the visual expression. So the foundation, what I spoke about, is the left hand side. Go towards the right hand side and it starts coming up, and then the visual identity, right from logo, the symbol, the kind of typography, the colors, and the presence, the personality, and the way the brand is kind of existing. So a sheer presence of the brand is going to be the visual expression. So it's all about the surface area. So this is something which the entrepreneurs can look at, and they can actually see what an anatomy of the brand is.
Wow. Okay, that was very interesting conversation. We understood this thing which you shared, and I think it was very self-explanatory, but you explained it very well. Piyush, now before we conclude, we have a last question for you. What will be your advice during this pandemic? How people can utilize this time, and how it is really important? What's going to be your advice for this business?
It's an interesting question, and a lot of people have different takes on it. And there are so many videos which are trending today, what you can do during lockdown and how things have changed. And in fact, just to share that, I've also done a video on how one can boost the employability factor in the lockdown.
That's nice. Maybe you can share the link in the comments. So yeah, definitely people can.
I will do that. But most importantly, for businessmen, as you asked, what is the I think this is the right time, to reflect on their journeys so far.
Okay.
And see how things can be simplified further in two aspects.
Okay.
One is that how the business or how the venture could be a need-based business.
Okay.
And not a want-based business.
Okay.
Because a lot of consumers, customers, clients are going to be conservative in their approach right now.
Okay.
And they are going to be conservative in terms of investing money, effort, time, everything for that matter. So costs are going to shoot up, and they're going to get conservative. So what I'm going to suggest every entrepreneur is to see how you fall in the need category for any client. So if you are needed in this time, then you are you are hired, or you would be selling your service or product. If you're a want-based business, so you might just be considered later.
Right.
Okay. Right. So define if your business can be communicated in a way which is a need-based rather than the want-based. So that is one part. Now, to do this, there is an important factor is I call it, or rather it's a business factor which is called pivot. So you pivot your your point right now, and you try to see how you can use your expertise, knowledge, products, features, or introduce something different to the existing situation. Okay, so you pivot your knowledge to create something which is today's need, or to address something which is the crisis, or something that you can help people with today's problems and give them some solutions right now. So I would suggest two things. One is, again, take a stop, take a pause, reflect back on your journey, and try to simplify things by being the need of today rather than the want of tomorrow. And I would tell every entrepreneur to see how your business can be pivoted around the domain expertise or the knowledge or the product features, and how you can redefine it to suit the existing situation. So it can be changing the product, can be kind of adding some more features, or it can be giving an alternate solution which is still your domain expertise. Right. So kind of give that kind of a twist to the business, so that I think everyone wants to survive, sustain, and thrive in future. So I think these are the steps I would tell you that this is something that every business can do.
That is really helpful, Piyush. I think you are absolutely right. After this pandemic, when the economy goes down, the businesses will still do miracles who are giving needed solutions, not want solutions. So the communication should be changed. There should be a shift in the communication and the modules, or maybe the services. You are absolutely right. That was a great advice. So we are done through all the questions. It was really helping discussion. It was amazing discussion with you. We got a lot of insights about branding and strategies, and we are really thankful. Guys, just to give you a reminder once again, Piyush's LinkedIn profile details and some contact details are mentioned in the comments if you wish to directly contact him, or if you have any questions. I will come again with some new topic in the next week. Make sure you subscribe and keep watching the new videos. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next video.
Thank you, Amay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.